My presentation today is about the use of comics as a teaching and learning tool. I hope you hear me. Is that okay?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. And digital storytelling environments have been very important nowadays, especially for learning and teaching. We have two different types of learning environments using storytelling. One environment is done when we have different stories, various stories, on different subjects. So we can use different stories in order to tell someone or to students or whatever, to entrepreneurs, whatever, about different subjects. The other one is when we use different stories or various stories on a particular subject. What is the difference in between these two? Sometimes people learn or prefer to hear the story from different types and different kinds and different views. So they prefer on a particular subject to hear that one from different, say, from different perspectives, so different stories. The other one is that when we have many subjects, so we use in that case absolutely different stories. Why is it important for teachers and students to use comics? One is that students, children, whatever, can share their experiences when they use comics. And also that shows kind of emotion to all participants. Others say that teachers and students are more creative, forward-thinking, flexible, and they're able to use innovative methods for teaching and learning. Most students nowadays are digital natives, and information of computer technologies, they play a very important role in their learning process. Let's see how digital storytelling and comics can upgrade some tools and a way can support thinking. How it supports critical thinking. It supports in a way that students have to think critically in a logical way, how to put different kind of motives of sense in order to create the story. The other thing is the collaboration in between students, collaboration in between teacher and students, and collaboration in between teachers. The other one is motivation. When students or teachers are working in comics, they are motivated in a way. And that upgrades creativity. We talk about creativity today. We know that is a very important aspect, as we know that creativity innovation plays a very important role nowadays. And the digital comics are digital tools for storytelling. So we use a digital environment in order to upgrade motivation, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity. And why we use those? What are the main impact they offer? They offer graphical and textual elements. So they join these two things, the graphical and the textual part. Let's have a look now in the literature review and what is this about on creativity and using of comics. A study on the experiences of creating comics by prospective teachers shows that engaging students in collaborative activities, especially through comics, support building new knowledge and concepts through critical thinking and role playing. There are also learning areas like mathematics, statistics, new technologies, where comics are a challenging process for teachers because comics require the active engagement of students and offer control in the learning process. One of the big advantages of comics, I think they offer control because in digital technologies, in a way, we need to have a control in the learning process, and that is an advantage. And also, these digital technologies provide great support for mathematics and statistics. Students and teachers try to use different ideas in order to teach statistics and mathematics. I'm teaching statistics in the university in the Department of Education, and students in my department find statistics quite difficult course. So I have to find a way to make it quite easier for them. Sometimes they don't understand how to create a hypothesis, how to do this testing, what is, the role of testing and the role of sample and the population and all these ideas. So using digital stories, that makes for them the whole subject becomes for them easier to understand. And as Manu said, comics convey the idea of the visual reference accurately, so they can understand where is the object and how we can start counting objects, and that comes to the mathematics course. Students also develop digital skills and learn through entertainment. That's another paper in our literature review that has to do with this storytelling subject. There are many online tools for comic creation, but some of them are for free, so they are easy for students to use, but they have some problems because they have limited number of objects that you can use, limited stories which can you create, and so on. So that is the problem when the these online tools are for free. We have Pixton, we have Make Believe Comic, we use Storyboard.comic, Scratch, and so on. Scratch differs from others because Scratch also needs some kind of programming. That's why I start teaching students in that order. We start from Pixton, Make Believe's Comic, Storyboard that, and after that we go to Scratch, because Scratch needs more ideas, needs a logical way of teaching, and also Scratch has to do something with the programming languages. What is our study? We try to explore how comics can support undergraduate students to prepare courses for children for learning statistics. One way to do a kind of assessment how students learn a subject is when we ask them to create that subject for students. And for our undergraduate students, I ask them to create a course for children in kindergartens. During pandemic, as we had that distance learning process and everybody has to live separately from others, comics and online learning was a solution. So comics were free. They could use that as online material was easily accessible. So undergraduate students can create comics to teach concepts of mathematics and statistics to children during special mini lessons. It is that some courses like microlearning, we try to do that one, and we offer those in kindergartens. I asked 10 students to start doing comics, and As I'm doing reverse classroom method, and also I use in a way the project-based learning. I ask these 10 students to start doing this project, and after that the students collaborate with other students, and they use a kind of learning, a collaborative learning, and also reversed kind of learning. All students learn something, and they come in the classroom, and we discuss about that. So they were free to choose either Pixton or Make Believe Comics or Storyboard That or Scratch to create their comic. And we asked the students to create their own comic. What we examined, I used the Dimension Star model. What is the Dimension Star model? The Dimension Star model examines the user contribution when we have digital material. What is that? Means that the type of scenes, the type of pictures, whatever they use students in order to formulate the story. How connected are one to the other? Other thing we have to check is the graphics on that one. How close is the subject that students had to prepare for the school? The other one was the concreteness, the logical structure of the comic, the background, the design, and this one. And how this concreteness of the statistical idea they used was applicable to that design. Also, we used the logical structure of the comic, how the comic was structured, if it has the logical way. We used also the virtuality of the comic. What kind of pictures students like to use, how these pictures could convey the idea of probability, statistics, and mathematics to students. What was the cognitive effort, the functionality of that software they used? If that program they tried to use was, say, in a way, okay with the notions they wanted to say. Also, the spatiality, the motion of the objects as we see, the collaboration, if they had collaboration with other students, if they had collaboration with professors, or if they had collaboration with children. So these 10 students could collaborate with a number of other students, and they created some groups of learning. Also, they can have the control of the comic if the user can build it and do it step by step. And we also examine the interactivity, the interaction with the heroes and the story. It's not so easy sometimes to write a story, because if you want to write a story for, say, for games or for statistics, it's very difficult to find the heroes and to find the exact story which will be good for that idea. The interactivity also, and the interaction is very important, and the engagement of children. If that gives some, kind of engagement. Say, if the children, that was very easy to do with Scratch, because children can say, oh, can collect those objects, let's try and let's play the game again. Even in the other comics, that was easy. Let's start with their opinion, and we will see here how students replied and what was their idea. Some students, as I said, used the Pixton comics, and they said it's a very easy to use tool. Yes, because when we asked them why, the way it is formulated, the whole story it was quite easy. And as you can see here, they created some stories because they wanted to find the mean and also to find the mode and the mode when we have a sample. Another student said it has very bright colors. So for children, it's very good, and that was their opinion, and that's why they liked that one. Pixton has many different characters, but they said the variety of the backgrounds in the free edition is not very big. The size of the objects remains unaltered in the free version, so they had that unlimited ability for different kinds of presentation. And then, as you can see in that picture, students used limited pictures, and they used these objects the Pixton offered. In Storyboard That said that this is a very nice tool. It was an excellent tool for online comic that had many pictures available for background, clear colors, because that gives a very good impression to children. Children like to see nice pictures, different pictures. They like to see different backgrounds, clear colors. So the scent was very easy to use and very useful for them in order to create these comics and then to address those to children and do the micro learning. They said also that in Storyboard That we can use character generator. So students were able to create different characters, and that makes kind of interactivity. Students can put something in there, and that shows their contribution and also the concreteness of the whole game. In Make-Believe Comics, said that they had different kinds and sizes of balloons. They can write text. It's very good for some students, but not for all young children, because they say children cannot read very well the balloons, although it has many balloons of different sizes, so they can put different letters and they can see different numbers there. Say some students who used Make-Believe Comics, and it was unique to create stories and to teach statistical ideas. Statistical ideas, as you can see here, they try to create a story how we use probability games and how we can find the mean. Scratch was also a good program for comics, but they said we have to have a very good knowledge of programming. It is good for the beginners, but if you want to make an elaborate game and a very good presentation that has to convey some ideas or to show to children different ideas and to show how to collect some objects and then to share and make and find the mean, it was quite difficult for them because especially for preschool children who cannot use a programming language easily, they say it was quite difficult to use that for statistics. Let's see now the characteristics that we had for creating that comic and what we found. We found that students felt positively for the application of comics in the teaching of statistics, and they said that it was a very nice idea to work together to discuss a topic with other students, with our teacher, get some ideas and work using these comics. They said that the user contribution, cognitive effort, spatiality, collaboration with classmates, virtuality of the comic control of the comic and engagement of children during the teaching were supported from comics. We had two negative replies in the logical structure of the comic. Logical structure of the comic normally we find when we use Scratch, but students said when we use other kinds of comics like Pixton Storyboard that the comic itself is not in a way allows you to use in any way you can put the different motifs and the different backgrounds in a way you like. And sometimes it's very difficult for them. So it's not so strict in a way we use that order in Scratch, because in Scratch when you have to change the background, you have to write the program and say now background, second background, third background, and so on. In the others, the background was not, fixed and had nothing to do with that, with the logical structure. And we have also three negative replies on the concreteness of the statistical ideas in digital comics. Why we had that? Because the libraries and the background they had, and also the design they wanted to find in the free version was limited. And that's why they said that this concreteness of the statistical ideas was very, made students uncomfortable to use. Also, one student said that Scratch had interactivity, and that was very good for children. That's what I said also before, that students like to offer that interactivity either with them or with children. But the problem when they use Scratch was the idea and the programming language. So digital stories are knowledge building and not so much knowledge transferring, but they build kind of knowledge. We have that visual literacy of storytelling. We have for each and every student an authentic context. So everyone, every teacher, every child can use an authentic context, and also promotes narrative skills. So we can see that using comics from one side, we get in a way narrative skills and also digital skills. At the same time, we upgrade all the skills. And these digital stories, as we found, are not only stories, are personal expressions. There are many books and many papers written about the personal expressions and how people feel. And also from the other side, from psychology, we have to see how people select objects, select stories, and that shows also their feelings in a subject, their feelings, psychomotor expressions. So it's very good in a way to see how our students feel about digital environments. On the other hand, these digital stories bring people together, and students learn better how to work in groups because they need the support of other students in a way. They need the criticism of other students when they create the story. And also, first of all, they evaluate the story when they show that story to classmates. And after that, they get the feedback. They create a new story. They use, in a way, the Bloom's taxonomy in order to create the final story. So students can work on that. And at the end of the day, using digital stories, we find that technology is a requirement. And nowadays, technology is very useful for our schools. So, in conclusion, we can say that students using online comics gain a unique opportunity to use technology for in classroom activities, become interested in reading and comics, and also keep those students engaging in digital technologies. Preschool teachers have to recognize the importance of digital storytelling and comics for teaching statistics or mathematics, whatever, and include them in their everyday school activities. Comics increase students' engagement on ICT tools, offer a rich learning visual environment, and help them to understand simple statistical ideas because they have to teach them, and first of all, they have to understand them in order to be able to teach. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your nice presentation. It was very fruitful and informative. Actually, it's also very qualified paper and the research paper in terms of the methodology and the process. Congratulations and thank you. If there is any question, we can raise the questions. If not, we can come to the conclusion of the inclusive learning track. We can conclude the session.